I was actually going to sit this one out. Shakur Stevenson, I'm going to speak directly to him. And in this video, I'm going to highlight 3, maybe 4 things. How he got in this position, what he did wrong, the Harutyan fight, and Gervonta Tank Davis. This is your boy JG. This is the Punch Report. Let's just get into it right now. Shakur Stevenson, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, which is not likely that you will be unless one of my subs or someone sees this video, forwards it to you, I want you to know a couple things. This is no bullshit, by the way. You have been accused of being a boring fighter. And I don't really think that's true. I mean, sure, your style isn't scintillating and you're not knocking out a bunch of people. But for me, as someone who enjoys the sport of boxing and all of its forms, I think you do a sensational job. The issue that you're really, truly running into is the internet, Instagram, Twitter or X, interviews. Just stop talking to people. Stop promising a bunch of weird shit that you can't deliver on. That's the primary issue that you're really running into. And there have been numerous individuals who have spoke on this. Quite honestly, if I was Shakur, based on what I saw, 2 days ago from, shout out to Cam and Mace, Is What It Is, podcast or sports show. They do a great job. Sometimes what you have to realize is this. No matter what you say or do, the best teacher in life is experience. And we're dealing with individuals who, one, are in the rap game. They toy with and play with and weave words for a living. I think those are some of the last people you want to go at. And they have bread and they come from a different lifestyle. You're taking a brutal beating on the internet, which is all your fault, might I add. But what I want you to know is this. Now that I've said all this semi-negative stuff, you're actually not in a bad position as a fighter. You're a 3-division world champion, I believe. You're currently undefeated and champion, WBC. Take some time, go on vacation, come back with a better game plan. And one of the things that ends up having to happen, or it needs to happen, that's for damn sure, is you are now a free agent. I do not agree with the idea that you walked away from a base pay salary of $3 million for 5 fights, $15 million total. That was not the best decision, but shout out to you. You are going to be tested in the open market, which is totally fine. Less is always more. Get someone around you that can guide you and direct you into a position where you're fielding the best offers from a variety of promotional companies, or how to get the bag and get the best fights available as an independent contractor doing business for yourself. But I think your team, as currently constructed, is not doing you many favors. And I want to make this point. I was having a conversation the other day. Shout out to my man, Mike Bonner. When Shakur Stevenson came out of the 2016 Rio Olympics and he decided to sign with Top Rank, I was devastated because I knew this kid was going to be sensational. He has all the skills, jab, defense, footwork, variety. Even though people don't see that, that's totally fine. I knew he was going to be sensational. And then he went to Top Rank. And then it went left because that's what Top Rank does to black fighters. It just is what it is. And there's enough information available to let you know this is not the best case scenario for my career, but you did it anyway. And it gets beyond the ability or your ability to stop somebody or knock someone out. It's about how you're prioritized and promoted generally. And Top Rank was not ever going to be the thing for you. Quite honestly, I think it's a setup. You see an American fighter like Shakur Stevenson coming out of the Olympics with a lot of buzz around his name. You know he's going to go pro. And it could be Top Rank saying, if we can sign this kid, we can stall him. Now, fortunately for him, he's young, extremely talented and gifted, and he's a tremendous boxer and he's a champion. Get off the internet, build the team around you that's going to allow you to capitalize and maximize on your position. You're not in a bad spot currently. It feels that way, and the internet is telling you that it's that way only because you keep running your mouth. It's a wrap for all of that. If I think about fighters who are defensive minded or who operated from a more defensive perspective, there are fighters out there who were not getting knocked like this until they reached a point of greatness. Easy, Floyd Mayweather, yeah. But he was such a marketing genius. And as you say you don't care, he really didn't care. He said this is the sport of boxing, the art of hitting and not getting hit. And he made no bones about that. But he had other aspects about his game that made him extremely marketable. He was an economy in and of itself. When he went to jail, they delayed that because they knew the business that his bout would do in Vegas buoys their economy. That's Floyd Mayweather. You were not in that position. And quite honestly, now that I'm going down this path, Floyd Mayweather may be directly responsible for the route a lot of these fighters take when they're trying to skip steps on their way to becoming a uber mega star, a pay-per-view dominant star. You're 17, 18-0, 21, 22-0 at best, 31-0 for, whoever's out there, and you start making ridiculous demands when you don't realize there was Pretty Boy Floyd, fought everyone, beat people up, was exciting, climbed the ladder, fought bigger guys. Once he got the notoriety that he was looking for, he had enough momentum, Money Mayweather phase. He called all the shots. And because he was so great at polarization, people for him or against him, the fights were always going to do crazy numbers. But I'm digressing crazy. Get a good team around you, 1. 2, the Arts and Harutnyan fight. Cool fight. You dominated the guy. I think that you questioned yourself after you couldn't get rid of him easily. Rounds 1 through 3.5, feeler rounds. 4 through about 8.5, you're turning up the pressure, walking him down, going back to the corner around 6 or 7, saying, I'm going to stop this guy. And you start applying very real pressure. He doesn't go right away, so then you revert back. Just do the things that you do really, really well. Don't press the issue. Don't do too much. Don't get outside of yourself. Let things come naturally. You're a tremendous fighter and boxer. You don't need to do more than, what it's advertised. But you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. Believe it or not, if you went out and said, hey, I want to go out here, I want to have a dominant performance, I want to look sharp and get a victory, that's my primary objective, then we don't get mad at the fact that you talk crazy, you call out a bunch of people, you name call, say you're going to stop a guy before the fight, during the fight, and then act funny after the fight when that didn't happen. You got really great guidance from your grandfather in the corner. Get behind the jab, serve the rest of your offense. I appreciate the fact that you stood in front, had a crazy defense. You were a fortress, like always. 16 to 17% land against percentage is tremendous. But you revert back to a very mild offense. You don't let your hands go when you're ridiculously talented at doing so. And Harutnyan was not going to knock you out. Unless you chinny, and we don't know that. But I digress once again. Moving on. Gervonta Tank Davis has put himself in a position to inadvertently, or you can't take credit for this, but inadvertently, because of his style. A boxer, a slick boxer with solid defense who happens to have God-tier power has put a lot of pressure on fighters operating around 126, 130, 135, 140. Shakur Stevenson is not the only one plagued by up and down performances and questionable outcomes. You have Devin Haney. Teofimo Lopez just had an event in Miami that went triple wood against a guy in Claggett who I don't know, never heard of. I believe he has 7 losses, and he looked crazy after that fight because everybody's trying to operate outside of themselves. It's why I do have a deep appreciation for Tank Davis. He just does what he does, and he's getting better at what he does. The misnomer that this guy is just a puncher, knockout artist, is why a lot of people, especially opposition, if they have a shitty camp, get lulled into thinking that we can do certain things. And then you realize he's a highly cerebral, pure applicationist in the sport of boxing. Variety, defensive stance variety, power in both hands, educated jab, the ability to make adjustments. If you are guys like Devin, if you are guys like Shakur, if you are guys like Teofimo Lopez, I think the guidance that I would give is let's figure out what you're great at. Let's amplify that. In areas where you have challenges, we'll continue to refine. But you will be who you need to be, and we'll clean up the mess behind, the greatest parts of you. That's the reality of the situation. For Shakur, your situation's really not that bad. You're just not adept at talking shit with people who are older than the age of 23 or 4, and your biggest issues are you say things that you can't deliver on. Your fighting style is going to be your fighting style. I don't suggest you make any dramatic changes. If I was in your camp, of course, I would say, we've covered all these bases. You're a master in these areas. It's time to start growing you and challenging you in other areas of the application of pugilism. That's what I would say. And then we naturally come into knockout situations because of timing and precision and accumulation of damage, not because we're forcing the issue on a guy that's super durable and a bronze medalist in the Olympics. It only has 1 loss. In limited action might that be, but still. Right now, we're talking about a fighter who had a dominant victory that some consider to be boring, or a lot consider to be boring. I think more that has to do with the fact that you said you were going to do something you didn't do, not that it was actually a snoozer. And I will say this, if it's ESPN talking crazy or saying whatever, we don't believe you. You guys say whatever. You guys Rob Loma, so stop playing with me. I'm not checking for no ESPN. Anyway, Shakur, the path to greatness and reestablishing yourself is not a long one. Less is always going to be more. Stop talking, keep training, and go out there and continue to cook people. And make sound decisions about the fighters you get in there with. You're going to be avoided because that boring style is highly effective. People can't find you, even when you live in range. So that's a challenge you're going to have to overcome with your charisma, your ability to market yourself and generate revenue. Take an acting class, get into some sort of Toastmasters and develop the ability to speak eloquently and in a way that captivates and galvanizes the people that you're speaking to. Generate revenue like that, and people will come calling. You are a good fighter. Keep going out there and winning, climbing the ladder, and gathering belts. In the meantime, stop talking shit on the internet, delete social media for a little bit or pause it, and get your mental together. This is your boy JG. This has been the Punch Report. We out.